Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan and today I have the long-awaited Hannah Montana song recommendation video. So I'm about to recommend 12 books to you based on Hannah Montana songs. What I did is I actually just went on Google, typed in top 10 Hannah Montana songs, found a top 10 list, but there were two songs that I felt should also be on that list, so I'll do some honorable mentions, and I just kind of listened to the songs and paired a book that I thought fit either the song or the vibe of the song or even just the title. And yeah, we'll just jump on in and I hope you guys enjoy. So our first honorable mention is Wherever I Go, which is a song that Hannah sings with Lily, or Miley sings with Lily at the very end, and they're talking about just finding their way back home and life is changing and all that kind of stuff. And that just makes me want to pick a comfort book. So I'm going and starting off with the most basic recommendation, and that is to read Harry Potter. And I don't know, this song just made me feel warm and cozy, and this book makes me feel warm and cozy, and I know it's like the most obvious recommendation, but I couldn't not pair something that was like a comforting song or a changing song and you just want comfort because of the change with my biggest comfort book of all time. So that is the very first song. My second honorable mention, and I'm actually kind of offended that this was not in the top 10 because I personally believe it's like one of the best Hannah Montana songs, is Who Said, and I think this is the perfect book to go along with Who Said. So just to recall, some of the lyrics are who said I can't be Superman, who said I can't be president. So it's just all about being independent and strong and proving everyone wrong, and you're not just an ordinary person, you can be more than what they say you can be. And I don't know a better, more perfect book recommendation than The Cruel Prince, because that like perfectly describes Jude. And Jude is 100% an independent female and she wants to prove everyone wrong, and throughout the series she actually does. So yeah, definitely pick up The Cruel Prince. If you aren't aware, this tells the story of three sisters, Jude, Taryn, and Vivi, and they are three girls who originally lived in the human world but then got taken to the land of fairy after a man who claims that he is Vivi's father comes and takes revenge on their mother and kills both their parents and takes them all to the land of fairy. So they're growing up in the land of fairy trying to figure out how to survive as humans, and it's just a really, really fun time. The Cruel Prince itself was not my favorite read. It was kind of hard to get through, and there was like a mixture of real world and magical elements, but The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing completely changed my mind about this series, and I love it so much now, and I think everyone should read it. Alright, so now we'll start at number 10 and work our way down to number 1. So according to this list, number 10 is If We Were a Movie. And as you recall, this is a time in which Hannah is kind of, I keep saying Hannah, when Miley is kind of wishing that her and Jacob could be together because he's like the perfect guy, and if they were a movie they'd be perfect together, that kind of thing. Talks about them being best friends, but like she's not the perfect girl, but if it was a movie they could be together, that kind of thing. And I think the perfect indicator or a book that kind of fits that mold is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This tells the story of a girl in high school named Imoni who actually got pregnant and had a child in like freshman or sophomore year, and now it's her senior year and she's just trying to get through and figure out what to do with her life after high school. And a new kid comes in named Malachi, and he is totally into Imoni, but she is just like, I'm not dealing with this, he's just some popular guy that's hitting on me just to get me in bed and blah blah blah. And so slowly they start creating a friendship and they go to a study abroad trip together and everything, and it's just a perfect example of If We Were a Movie. Number 9 on the list is He Could Be the One. and I think that the perfect book for this is A Court of Mist and Fury. And if you haven't read A Court of Mist and Fury, I'm not going to delve too much into it, but there is quite a bit of deciding if someone is the right person for her. So I think that really fits. But this is the second book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. A Court of Thorns and Roses tells the story of Feyre, who is a human, and she and her two sisters are kind of in poverty. They're starving. So one day she goes out into the woods and kills a wolf who ended up being a fairy. So the head fairy comes and tries to take her life for the wolf's life, or the fairy's life, in exchange, but she is able to live through this agreement, I guess you could say. Instead of being killed, she is able to live, but she's no longer able to live with her sisters. She does have to live in the land of fairy. And so she is stuck in this land of fairy with this High Lord who took her in because she killed the guy's friend, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so it just goes from there. But yeah, I loved A Court of Mist and Fury. This is one of my favorite books of all time, one of the best romances of all time, and he could definitely be the one. I mean, smooth talking, so rockin', he's got everything that a girl's wantin'. If you know, you know. Number 8 on the top Hannah Montana songs is Rockstar. It talks about her having all of these like traits that you wouldn't necessarily see in an ordinary girl. So it's like, I can fix the flat on your car, I might even be a rock star. And to me, I don't actually own this book, but this reminded me very specifically of Truly Devious, which tells the story of these kids who are in a boarding school because they have these like special abilities. They aren't really that special, but one is like a YouTube star, one is really good at engineering, one wants to be an author, that kind of thing. So it was like, I can fix the flat on your car was like the girl who's into engineering and stuff, and then I might even be a rock star because like the YouTube star, or having a musician, virtuoso, that kind of thing. So Truly Devious, if you aren't aware, as I just said, is a boarding school with these children who have like very special interests and are very genius in those areas. However, there is one student there who really wants to be a crime investigator or like murder investigator. I'm forgetting the exact name of the position she wants, but while she is there, she is trying to, she wants to be a detective, essentially. So she is going into the research behind a murder or kidnapping that happened during the founding of this boarding school. However, while they're there, another murder happens, so she is kind of like parallel, these things are happening between the founding and while she's there, so many years later, like 60 years later or so. So it's really interesting to see the parallels, and it is told from both perspectives of the older time and the current time. I'm explaining this horribly, but it is a really good, almost middle grade-esque mystery series. So if you like mysteries, go ahead and check it out. Number 7 on the list is You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home. And in this song there are lyrics that state you can change your hair, you can change your clothes, but you'll always find your way back home. And this wasn't necessarily right in line with those lyrics, but it kind of reminded me of this book, which is A Very Large Expanse of Sea. And this tells a story of a girl who is a Muslim, and she wears her headdressing right after 9/11, so she's dealing with the racism and the bigotry and all the insults that insinuated to be a terrorist, essentially, which is awful, but it really delves into those kind of triggers and issues, and it touches on them really well from the person's perspective, and I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot from it, but there also is a romance in this, and this girl and the all-American boy, star of the basketball team, white boy, get together, and they essentially like start a relationship. But it is still delving into that, like, are they allowed to be together, that kind of thing, because you can change your hair, you can change your clothes, but you're still who you are. And I really liked the topics and the things that this really touched on in a way that is easy for everyone to understand, and I highly, highly recommend this to everyone. It is my favorite contemporary, and yeah. Also, I apologize for all of the fantasies you're seeing because that is mainly the genre I read. I think I had 2 contemporaries and that's it. The rest I think are fantasy, so just be forewarned, if you don't like fantasy, this probably isn't the kind of review or recommendation video for you. Yeah. Number 6 is I Got Nerve, and I thought that Caraval was a really good representation of I Got Nerve because it starts off with talking about how you don't even know me, but you're gonna see me, that kind of thing. And it starts off in Caraval that they don't even know Legend, but they want to come and visit him, and these 2 sisters definitely have nerve. So Caraval tells the story of 2 sisters named Scarlett and Tella, who all they've wanted to do is go to this like night, week-long scavenger hunt, essentially. But it's a big performance, very illusionary, and some people even go insane to the point of death in this maze scavenger hunt. But Scarlett and Tella really, really want to go, but you do have to be invited to go, and they've never been invited before. Until one year they're invited. However, the issue is that Tella is the scavenger hunt prize this year. So essentially she gets kidnapped at the very beginning, and Scarlett has to go through this entire hunt on her own trying to find Tella, and if she finds Tella, she wins the game. And it's just so crazy. There's so many times where you're questioning what's real and what's not, which I really love. And it was just such a fun time, and I highly recommend this to anyone. It's almost like Greatest Showman meets a mystery meets, I don't even know, but it was so fun. Number 5 is The Other Side of Me. So we've got the other side, I wish you could see it. Other side, other side, other side of me. I can sing, I promise. I just don't feel like it. Yeah. Of course, I had to fit this in somewhere. One of my favorite books of all time. It was Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto. And as you can see, I really enjoyed this book. But this tells the story of Veronica, who all she wants to do is be a Phoenix Rider. However, the Phoenix Riders are only taking in boys, so she has to disguise herself as a boy to join their clan. And I think that fits perfectly with The Other Side of Me because she's pretending to be a boy, but she befriends one of the clan members, and all she wants to do is tell him that she's actually a girl, but she's afraid of the repercussions. And so I wish you could see The Other Side of Me. Yeah, there you go. Alright, number 4 on the list is Let's Do This, and I had to listen to this like 3 times, and I really couldn't figure out a book that went along with this, so I just went ahead and did Children of Blood and Bone, because Zelly, who is our main character, is very loud and boisterous and so fun to read, and she's very like adamant and ambitious and like, let's go, let's do this. So that is why I chose Children of Blood and Bone for this prompt, or not prompt, but recommendation of a song. Children of Blood and Bone tells the story of this clan or world in which magic has been taken away from the Magi, and so therefore Zelly comes across a chance to restore the magic, and she 100% jumps on it, pretty much no questions asked, and goes on this journey to restore the magic. There is a Zatara-esque relationship. There is a princess on the run. There is a like saber-toothed tiger mutant thing, and it's so fun, and I just love the story, and it ended so abruptly and so alarmingly. And Children of Virtue and Vengeance has already come out, and I haven't picked it up yet, and I cannot believe I haven't, but you should definitely read Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Number 3 is The Best of Both Worlds, our classic Hannah Montana theme song. And As you know, it's the best of both worlds. I didn't really listen to the lyrics. I went purely off the title for this recommendation, and that is Strange the Dreamer. And if you've read this book, you know exactly why I chose this. However, if you don't, this tells the story of Laszlo Strange, who all he wants to do is visit the city of Weep, because he's researched it his whole life. He is an orphan, so he spent his life in a library with only books for company, essentially. So he only just wants to go to the city of Weep that has kind of been wiped from the face of the planet and everyone's memory. And one day he's given the opportunity to go to the city of Weep and see what caused it to be taken away. So when he's given the opportunity, he jumps 100% on it, and he is given the best of both worlds. Number 2 on the Hannah Montana list is We Got the Party With Us. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't really know if I agree with most of this list, but for the recommendation, I chose House of Salt and Sorrows. And you might be like, Megan, isn't that like a creepy, like dark retelling with a lot of death in it? Why would you pick that for We Got the Party? And let me tell you why, friends. Because this is a creepy, dark retelling with lots of death in it, but it is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. And if you don't know, the 12 Dancing Princesses tells a story of these 12 sisters who discover a portal to a magical world, and they essentially go to the magical world all the time to escape their life. And the place that they go in this book is a ball, and they're always going to these parties and dances, so we got the party with us because they're always going to parties. Yeah. That's essentially what I came up with, and I just wanted to fit this in because I think it's a great book and everyone should read it, and I loved it a lot, so check it out. And number 1 on the top 10 Hannah Montana list is Nobody's Perfect, as it should be, because that is the number 1 Hannah Montana song, and I think we can all agree with that. But I do think that Who Said and If We Were a Movie should be higher on that list. Anyways, number 1 is, again, Nobody's Perfect, and for that I chose Sky in the Deep, which is essentially a story in which a warrior girl who was fighting with her brother gets killed in this war, and she is seeking vengeance. However, she discovers that her brother didn't actually die, he just went to the other side, the enemy lines, and when she tries to get him back, she is taken in and kind of held prisoner, and she sees that maybe the other clan and the other side isn't as bad as it seems, and therefore nobody's perfect. So this is also like one of the best enemies to lovers that I've ever read, and you should definitely check it out. So that was my Hannah Montana song recommendations, Hannah Montana book to song to book recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you think that other books would fit these songs that I have not read, because I'd love to check them out. And I will check in with you guys in my next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, friends.